Hi, this is David again, and I'm doing this video on how to get Social Security disability. Now, be aware, I still believe in honesty and integrity and telling the truth. I'm going to share with you my knowledge of Social Security disability. I have helped one or two others get this information, and they got Social Security disability. Let me share with you my experience. When you work, you've got to work 10 quarters, which is about 2.5 to 3 years. And during that time, your paycheck is going to show an amount of money that's pulled out for Social Security. Well, if you've worked for 10 years, 15, or 30 years, obviously the more you've worked, the higher that fund is. Well, the amount that you put in there is in correlation with the amount you can get out for disability. Now, there's a phone number. Let me give it to you. It's 1-800-772-1213. Repeat it. 1-800-772-1213. I hope that matches. But anyway, that's the Social Security Administration, and you can call up and you can identify yourself and you can say, if I'm disabled right now, how much would I get per month? And they'll say $312, they'll say $792, they'll say $1,250, they'll say $2,890. They'll give you the number right now. If you're still working, that number will continue to go up. Now, if you think this is going to be easy, you might as well take the camera and just throw it over in the trash and just sit home and be poor and be destitute and not have your Social Security disability. This is not welfare. This is money that you put into a savings account buying a disability policy. Now, if you become 100% disabled, you have to prove you're 100% disabled, and your disability policy with Social Security will kick in. It's not easy, it's a little complex, and it ain't going to be overnight. You're not going to see money in the next 30 days. You won't see the money from Social Security disability for a year. At least. It's probably going to be more like 12, 15, 16 months. But if you're qualified, it pays retroactive. So if you're getting $1,000 a month and you put your paperwork in, they're not going to tell you anything basically for a year if you've qualified or not. But if you qualify, your first check is $12,000. Is that worth waiting for? That's up to you. We're not trying to rip off our government. We're not trying to pull a scam or a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. I'm on this tape as a somewhat of an expert in Social Security disability. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. Do I know enough for you to get qualified? I might. I might. So, here's how the rules and the regulations and the process and the hoops you're going to have to jump over. Number one, this is a government agency. If you think you're going to pull the wool over their eyes with this kind of money, you're nuts. If you ain't disabled, don't even think of this. Don't even begin to think of it. If your opinion is you're disabled, that doesn't mean crap. If you've got a doctor that you've been going to, knows you well, and he says you're disabled, bam, now's the time to start that disability. If you have been laid off of a job or you've quit a job because you just can't lift anymore, bend or see or work because of a mental condition, that's covered now under Social Security, mental conditions. I'd start the process. It appears that you may be going down the right road. Now, if you've been in a hospital and your back has been on with problems and you've had surgery on your back, or you've got a neck injury or some other kind of debilitating injury, there's a good chance you're going to qualify. Now, here's what people don't know. This is why I'm sharing the video. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. Don't cheat them. Don't lie. Don't exacerbate. You really need to be disabled, but it's your money and you have a right to go get it. One disability will do it. If it is a total, complete disability, that will do it. What other people don't know is you can stack the disabilities. You may have one arm that's dead. You can't do crap. One arm is dead. Well, that's a disability, but it isn't complete disability because you got the other arm. Okay? But now if you get two arms that are dead, kind of you're getting close. And one leg that don't work, you can stack all three of those together, and there's a chance that you're going to get complete disability. And Social Security will approve it. You better have more doctors and more hospital and chiropractic and podiatrist, whatever your disability is, psychiatrist, medication schedules, hospitalization and psychiatric units, whatever. Suicide attempts documented. If you've got that kind of massive paperwork, you're probably going to qualify. You're probably going to qualify. If you don't, and your brother says you're crazy, and your mom says he's been crazy since his birth, and they both write a letter, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Don't even think. You're not going to come close to Social Security disability. So, you start calling the 772-1213 number, and you say to them, I want to apply for Social Security disability. They'll send you this great big huge packet of about 30 pages, which is intimidating, in the mail. And if you don't have a good education and you're not used to that kind of documentation, it's made to intimidate you, it's made to scare you, it's made to say, we don't want to pay anybody. And if you're scared, lay in bed, be poor, be on food stamps, do what you want to do. Don't be intimidated, and take it one step at a time. Before you even do the application, what you need to do is go to your doctor. Hopefully you've got a good relationship with him or her, and maybe even 2 or 3 doctors that has seen you and knows you're disabled. They have signed for wheelchairs for you, or they've made special arrangements on your driver's license for disability, that you've got a placard from the state of Tennessee saying this person's disabled. You are your own investigator. You are your own responsibility. If you can't do this by a telephone or getting on a bus and going and getting these documents, don't waste your time. This is going to take you probably on the application, I'm going to say at least 2 months. You might be longer, but if you're good and you've got a good relationship with your hospitals and your doctors, and you know a little bit about your rights, how you can get your hospital records and your doctor's records, you start gathering that. And boy, that better be that thick, or you're not going to qualify. If you're mentally retarded, you can't watch this video anyway. If you're mentally retarded, you're going to qualify 100%, but that doesn't matter. That's moot. You're going to have documents about an inch thick from doctors showing that you have been ongoing disabled, that basically his opinion is that you're disabled, or her opinion is, and that you've been on medications and you're resistant to medication, that you've been hospitalized 4 times for this particular disability or this deficit in your functioning. Now they're going to ask you for all of your hospital documents. I don't care what state they're in. I don't care if you got to go to Florida, Minnesota, California, Canada, Mexico, it doesn't matter. You better have those documents, and you better start collecting them now. You want to take a shortcut? Good. You ain't going to get it. You ain't going to get it. This is a government agency, one of the better ones that isn't stupid. It's very similar to immigration. I've been in the immigration courts, and they're not stupid. So anyway, if you're going to lie, cheat, and steal, I've said this 3 times now, don't do this. Don't use this video to try to defraud the American government or the Social Security Administration. If you do, then I'm going to feel bad. But I'll feel good if you're really disabled and you get qualified and your life flattens out and you got money coming in and you can live the rest of your life. So, you call Social Security, you get the application on its way to you. You start gathering all of your doctors' visits, all of your prescription drugs. Go to your pharmacy and go back 2 or 3 years. Get as far back as you can of how many drugs you've taken and basically what those drugs are for. Doctors know what they're for. The pharmacy is not going to basically show you Plavix. We all know that Plavix is hooked to coronary heart disease. If you're a doctor or you're a person like me who's had a quad bypass, we know what Plavix is. So when this goes to the Social Security Administration doctors, they know. They know if you have some kind of a kidney problem or whatever, they're going to see the medications for kidney. So get your documentation. This is a government agency. You don't call them, you don't beg, you don't cry, you don't have your mother write in, your bishop write in, your priest write in, and you write in 9 fake letters yourself. Trying to be 9 different doctors. Again, I'm going to say it over and over again. Don't defraud the federal government. This is shit that you'll go to jail for. And I'll tell you worse. If you get Social Security, disability, and they find out in 7 years that you lied, now the money that's coming in for retirement, they're going to take $50, $100, $200 a month out of your retirement and pay back the system. High motivation. If it's free money from your disability policy, great. But if you're borrowing against your retirement because you're a liar, a thief, and a cheat, they're going to catch you. And they're going to take it out until you pay them back the full amount of money for your disability when you weren't disabled. All right, you get all that documentation, you get your application, you get your doctor on your side. You tell them what they're doing and ask them, will you support me in this? Do you think this is a good idea? And he says, no, go to another doctor. Get another doctor, not a fake one. Don't go shopping doctors. But what I'm saying to you is some doctors are more compassionate than others. Don't go shopping doctors because you think someone is going to say, oh yeah, because it's not just the doctor's decision. So if the doctor says no, there's probably a chance you should just say no too. But you can go get another doctor if you really feel strongly. You bring all that together, and most of it is so big you're not going to be able to fit it on the kitchen table. You try to organize it a little bit. The dates, the doctors, the prescriptions, the hospitalization, the diagnosis. You can get all your hospital records. You may not know that. You can get all your doctor's records. You may not know that, and get them. This is your disability policy, and you're going to collect on it. So you get that all on the table. Now you get the application. You open the first page, and it wants your name, your date, your brothers, your sisters, all the Social Security numbers, because they're going to check. You are not going to rip off the Social Security Administration. There's a lot of government agencies that are so stupid you can rip them off. This ain't one of them. They're going to check you so close, you're going to be naked in front of the Social Security Administration. So they're going to get basic information, because if other people have tried to get disability in your family and they find out your family's a bunch of peasants and thieves, that ain't going to look good on your application. They're going to ask you where you worked, how long you worked, what kind of work you did, and they're going to ask you a little bit about your opinion. Why do you think you're disabled? You used to be a forklift operator and you can still drive. You put down, basically, I had to lift and load the forklift and unload it, and now my back, I can't do that anymore. Now here's where you've got to be careful, and you've got to be correct. Don't make these mistakes, because you're going to be damn disappointed. If you can't lift anymore, that's certainly a disability. But with Social Security, if you can drive, they expect you to go get another job, a driving job. A little common sense. It is an agency with a little common sense. This has to be, the qualification is a total disability where you cannot work for at least a year. Because they're going to review it every year, every 5 years, every 10 years. It's not one of these government agencies where you make it in and you go, hey, it's welfare, and it's just going to keep rolling in. They're going to check it. The rule is, you're trying to prove through your documentation and your medical background that you are totally disabled, because, number one, you can't do any other kinds of substantial work. And there's an important legal term, substantial work. Now, you might be able to, work at McDonald's for 3 hours a week and flip a burger. That's not substantial with Social Security. But they're going to look hard. They're going to look hard, and they're going to find every reason that you screwed up or that you're not qualified. Believe me, it's not easy. So, if you're a forklift operator and you just can't lift the boxes, that is not full-time disability where you're never going to be able to work at least for a year or life. Now, let's change it. Let's say that you're a forklift operator and a box falls off of one of the upper levels, hits you in the eyes, and now you're blind. That's full-time disability. You can't hardly do anything. And I use that example. You'll find that blind people in the Social Security Administration and retarded people have special sections. It's pretty much automatic. But let's say, let's do something a little bit different. Let's say a box fell off and hit you in the back. And you have a very difficult time now driving the forklift operator machine, and you can't pick up anything. And you've gone home from work 15 times in the last 15 months because of such pain. You've been on pain medications and been in bed. You've been to chiropractor 92 times, and you've had 3 operations. And all the doctors and people are saying you're not to be carrying, walking, driving a car, engaging in ordinary activities. Now, Social Security will coordinate a little bit with ADA, which is Americans with Disability Act. Okay, to be handicapped in the United States, it must interfere with a major life function. That is the legal definition. So if you're not having sex, or you can't eat, or you can't work, you're qualified under ADA for accommodations and protections from the federal government. Social Security Administration is a little bit different. You have to prove to them with documentation, not testimony, but documentation, that you are going to be disabled now and for the next year. That's all you got to do, just 1 year. Then they have to decide. You fill out the application, you send it in. Now you don't want to screw around with this too long, because every month you delay, you miss your $1,000, because it's going to pay retroactive from the date that they get it. The sooner they get it, the quicker your 1 year waiting period is going to be clicking off, and you got $1,000 for that month. You wait 3 months, you lost $3,000. Hey, if you can afford it, take your time. Fill it out the best you can, and if you need help, get a mother or father. You can even get a professional CPA or an attorney and counsel with them a little bit and say, what do I say here, what do I say there? You don't want to lie, but you certainly want to sell your disability, that it's true. Don't say things that aren't true. But if you've taken 15 drugs, don't say you've taken 30. They'll check with the pharmacy, and it's just like immigration. The moment they see you lying, you can bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. Don't lie to these people. If you're really disabled, you deserve your disability policy and money that you put in. It's not welfare. I've already said that. Get it in as soon as you can, because each month that goes by, it's clicking off. Once you get it in, now, they have a year to make a decision, because you've got to be unemployed for a year. That's a bitch. You better live with mom or dad or a girlfriend or a boyfriend that's working, and they're going to want to know, are you working? And you go, oh yeah, I'm still driving the forklift, but it's really painful. Well, you're still working. You're not disabled. You have to lay off for a year. And in that year, I'm going to advise you, I wouldn't work at all. If it's painful or you really have a disability, for God's sakes, don't work. If you work a little bit, you can still probably qualify, but you may not qualify under the same rules and regulations, and there's a lot of complexities. It's much more straight through that if dad and mom are going to take care of you, let you lay in bed, you can watch a little TV, but you know, if you go dancing or you go bungee jumping, that's stupid, because you're lying and they will find out. Don't screw with Social Security. So get your application in, and the year starts ticking. Now, they'll check. They're not going to just read that with some, you know, little girl in a cubicle and go, oh, I think he's disabled. That's going to be scrutinized like you won't believe. They're in a fish tank, a fishbowl, and people watch. Is this person really disabled? It's going to go through several cubicles, and then it's going to go to a board of doctors. And they're specialists in your disability, not all disabilities. If it's a back, they're going to be back specialists. If they're heart, they're going to be cardiac specialists, and they're going to see, you know, are the stents in there, and there's been quad bypass surgery, and there's been a wheelchair that's been ordered, and in rehabilitation, there's some progress. That's probably a full disability. You can't drive a bus like that. You can't work like that. What employer is going to take that risk on, that you're going to fall over and die, and you can't lift anything, you can't run, you're not healthy, you're disabled? So the people who review are experts. You're not going to fool them. If you've got angiograms and videos of angiograms and open heart and whatever, that's prima facie evidence right there. You're had cardiac problems, and it looks like what you're saying is the truth. They may write back to you and say, we need this documentation. The Minnesota hospital, please send in the diagnosis of your Minnesota hospital in 1996. You go run and get it. You get it on the phone. You get it on the computer. You go get it. You give Social Security what they want. And you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be hard not to work for a year because you're going to be poor as a church mouse. But you know, because you've made the phone call, there'll be $975 every month if you qualify, direct deposited into your bank account. Is that worth waiting for? If you're disabled, yes. If you can work, hell no. You can make more than $975 a month. God, go get a different job. Work at McDonald's and make $14 or $15 or $2,000 a month or more. So, there isn't a means test like welfare. You can own a condo, 3 condos. You can have rental property bringing in you income. You can have business that's bringing in, but be careful. Be careful if you own a business. If you work in that business, you're not disabled. If you run that business, you're not disabled. If you can sit in a chair and make phone calls and you can bring money into that business, they're going to discover that, and you're not qualified under the rules. You may think you are, but there's rules that have been passed by the Congress that these are the rules, and if you don't meet those rules, you don't qualify. So, if you're really disabled, watch TV, lay in bed, maybe walk around the community if it's not legs or something, live the best life that you can, and wait for Social Security to do their job. You can't hurry them. You can't write them letters, oh, I'm dying, can you give me a little money early? No, you can't do any of that shit. You just shut your damn mouth, give them what they want, and wait. Now here's what's going to happen. They're going to make a decision. And you're ready for this $12,000 check to come in to make up mom and dad for them supporting you. And the first decision is going to be, no, you're not qualified. So don't be surprised. Don't be upset. Don't go having a fit. And I think it's like 90% or more that the first application is denied. Okay? Now during that year, you should be getting more documentation. You should be seeing the doctor more and more, because you now know you're going to probably be denied on the first round, and now you've got 67 other papers that prove your disability, and you're just waiting for that denial. Okay, the denial comes in, and with it is going to be one ugly piece of paper that's just going to scare the shit out of you. It's an appeal. What do they call it? Administrative appeal or administrative hearing. Okay, and you go, oh, I'm too scared. And maybe you can't even get in a damn car and go anywhere, and maybe, you know, you don't have any more material. So you appeal it. You must appeal it. I wish I was getting paid for this, because this is invaluable. I didn't know all this stuff. Now I do. You appeal it, and you send in your extra papers if you've got them. 80% of the appeals win. That's where you'll get Social Security. Now, if you don't win on the 80% of the appeal, you can take it into, you can call it Superior Court, District Court, whatever you want to call it. You can actually sue them under disability law, under federal law, because you're handicapped and disabled, but you're not meeting their requirements, and if you think you are meeting them, that scares the shit out of them. And if you sue them, there's a good chance they're just going to settle and say, screw it, and let him have disability, or let her have it. They don't want to spend the money, and they know how close it is. So, be prepared for another 2 or 3 months. You're not going to get any money. And then finally, you will get what's called a determination letter. You will get in the mail a determination letter. And it will say, it'll be a little white piece of paper. It looks like a bill. And it'll say, you have been determined to, you are eligible for Social Security Disability. You will be paid $1,900 or whatever, $970 a month on the 3rd of the month, every month, or on the 15th of the month, every month. If you want to do direct deposit, which I suggest you do, they're perfect on direct deposit. Never miss. The check sometimes gets lost in the mail if it's coming in the mail. Other people steal the check because they know the 3rd and the 15th. All the old people are getting their money, and the disabled people. So have it direct deposited. And it's right there. Now let me tell you, if the 3rd is a Saturday or Sunday, they'll pay it on Friday. They pay it early, not late. If the 15th is on a holiday, they'll pay it on the 13th or the 12th, whichever the Friday is. They don't pay on Saturday or Sunday or a holiday, but they pay before those Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. It goes in direct deposit. It shows, it says U.S. Treasury on your account, and there's the money in there, and you're qualified. Now, are you done? The big part is way, way done. Do they have a right to check on you? You bet your ass. Somebody could call up and say, you know, I think Frank has disability, and I saw him on the zip line up there at the mountain resort, and he hiked to the top of Everest. How does he get Social Security and do that shit? He writes or calls Social Security, boy, they'll be on you like shit on an Indian blanket. White on rice. They'll call you up and they'll say, you need to come down. We want to see you personally because we think you screwed us. What are you going to do? You did. You screwed them. They want their money back, and they're going to get it back. Believe me, they're going to get it back. You're not going to run away with Social Security money that you got by illegal gain. So, depends on the disability, depends a lot upon you, and depends a lot upon whether someone's going to call. If you're mentally ill and you're being crazy, then everybody knows, you know, he's disabled. But if a mentally ill person seems to be doing pretty good and they're not using the wheelchair anymore, then now somebody's going to say, I wonder if they're really disabled. If you're disabled, be disabled. If you're not, don't be. Now, here's some good news. Here's some good news. I don't know the number because I haven't looked in there. Last time I looked, it was like $950 a month. You can get a job being full-time disabled. You can earn up to $950 a month being fully disabled with the Social Security Administration. That's their rule. And every year that goes up with the cost of living, so I might be off $100, $400, who knows. If you work more and get more than $950 a month, now your Social Security goes down dollar for dollar. If you make an extra $100, you make $10.50. Now your Social Security check isn't $950 anymore. Now it's $900. And the Social Security computer and the IRS computer talks to each other 24/7. So you're making $2,000 a month and you're on disability. And so your check is coming in, even if you're paid under the table, they'll get you. They'll get you. Your check is coming in, you're showing $2,000 a month, your Social Security is $950. God, that's good money. Then the IRS computer will say to the Social Security computer, shit, there's way too much money coming in here. He's over $950. Social Security computer will tap the agent on the shoulder and go, hey, you need to check him out. You need to go see him or have him come into the office, and they'll have all the numbers right there. And they'll say, you're cheating us, and you'll look at the numbers and go, well, and they'll say, okay, you've been found to be cheating, and when you retire, we're going to take out $250 a month because you owe us $72,000. They're going to get their money back. I can't say it enough on this video, and I'm going to say it again. Don't cheat. Don't lie. Don't steal. If you're disabled, you have a right to your money. If you're not disabled, tough it out till you're 62 or 65. They can check you, and they sometimes will check you after a year. And they will say, we need a letter from your doctor, or we'd like you to fill this application out and let us know. Now, they will ask you on the original application and any checkups, can you bend over to the left, to the right? How high can you reach up? Can you squat? Can you sit in a chair? Can you get up unassisted from a chair? Can you climb a staircase? How many stairs? And can you reach in the cupboard to make your own sandwiches and food? They're going to test you, and again, you better tell the truth because they're going to ask the doctor. And they better match. They better match. If you have a serious disability and you've been honest all the way through, they may not even check you the first year, but they have a right to check you anytime. Anytime they're suspicious, they can check you. The first year is a key year because you promised when you made your application that you would be disabled for at least 1 year. Maybe more, hopefully. If you're still disabled, it will be for the rest of your life. Or if you recover, then you recover and you stop getting your Social Security. That's only fair. My experience has been they don't do a lot of checking if you're honest and you've got something that is chronic. If you have schizophrenia, it ain't gonna go away. If you have a broken neck and are paralyzed from the neck down, that ain't gonna heal. If you're mentally retarded and autistic, no education in the world is gonna make you normal. If you've lost both arms and both legs, few people grow those back. These are not stupid people. They know that disability and the type of disability, and the doctors will write in the Social Security records, you know, this person is permanently disabled, and don't even check. Now let me warn you about something. Let me warn you about something. I wish I was getting money for this. I said that twice now. What you say to Social Security Administration in person, in letter, on the phone, is recorded. Every word. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't try to reconstruct your lie. You're going to be caught. And the little worker that you're talking to when you leave the office is going to say on her notes, he seems to be able to walk real well and he got up unassisted, and even though his fingers had problems with the paperwork, it doesn't appear to me he's fully disabled. There's the beginning right there. There's the beginning right there that is going to come down to the doctors eventually and down to your denial letter, or if you're lucky, you'll get a letter of determination, how much you're going to get and when you're going to get it. At the end of the year, it's on a 1099. Social Security will send you how much money you made with your Social Security disability, and most of that is going to be exempt at the IRS. Your wife can make money, everyone else in the family can make money, you can make $900 or so a month. You have your pay stubs, you can send those in, they'll ask for them, and you'll show them, and they're going to keep track. If you're working at all, be careful. They're going to want those pay stubs, they're going to want to see the hours, and they're going to want maybe a letter from the employer, what you're doing. Are you lifting, or does your back really bother you that much? Again, I'm going to just say it over and over again. I can't tell you enough. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, you're not going to get away with it with Social Security. Now, some of you are thinking, well, people do get away with disability claims. Yeah, they do. They're state disability claims. They're not federal. The state people are stupid. They don't have the resources of the federal government, and the computers don't all talk. Social Security computers talk to everybody and everything. And you, if you're disabled, it's no problem. If you're not, it's a big problem because it's also fraudulent. You could be prosecuted for fraud, signing under fraud that what you're saying is true when it's not true. So, if you want Social Security disability, you have a right to it. It's not welfare, it's money that you put in. There's a wait for it. You better stay disabled, and it better be the truth for at least a year. Be expecting your rejection letter, appeal it, and then be expecting your acceptance letter. And remember, all the time they screw around making a decision to a determination letter, you're getting paid. Your money is in the bank. So your first check could be $12,000, $26,000, $46,000, or maybe, you know, it might be $2,000 or $3,000. When you see these people on TV trying to say, hey, we'll get your Social Security, you pay them, oh God, I can't remember, if they take, and don't quote me on this one, I think they take 30%. So if you get $12,000, they're going to take 30% of $12,000. That's how the attorneys make money. They know all these things now that you know. That you know. You didn't have to pay them $9,000 of your money to finally get you Social Security. You can do it on your own, with maybe a little help from a mom or a dad or somebody that will sit and encourage you, because the paperwork is arduous. There's no doubt about it. And if you tire of the paperwork and you give up, the federal government is happy as can be. The people who cheat, lie, and steal on Aetna and Hartford and New England Life and insurance companies, they can get away sometimes. They do have private investigators. I've seen them shooting video over the fence of people who say they're disabled. They have some resources, but the Social Security Administration has infinite money and resources to track you down. So there's other little things. You can go to a foreign country and you can retire in a foreign country as an alien in a foreign country, and there's some countries that have dual citizenship, and you can get your Social Security deposited right here in the United States. And if you have Wells Fargo or Chase or other banks that are American banks that your account is in, the money is right there in a foreign country. You turn it to pesos and it's 10 times what it is in the United States, and there's nothing illegal about that. You can retire anywhere you want. Make sure you tell your wife or your husband when you die, you better notify Social Security, because the checks will just keep rolling in. If they roll in, she or he's going to have to pay it back. They were responsible people that should have reported your death, so the checks stop. Now let me put one more sidelight on this. If you're really, really poor, like you don't have a wife or a husband that's working, or you don't have any kids at home, and you're really poor, there's some states, California and others, that have SSI, and that's an extra check every month that you're qualified for by being poor, that comes along with your Social Security check. Now, let me put the frosting on the cake. People don't know this. If you get full disability from the Social Security Administration, and you still have children in your home that are legally yours, live with you more than 51% of the year, qualify for IRS deductions, they're adopted legally, and you have the legal paper in your hand. It's not, Mom gave me the kids. You can't, be stupid. You have to have a legal documentation. And there's some other little quasi areas in there with foster children and or certain grandchildren. Now, if you have a special ed child, I had an autistic son for 18 years. They get special treatment. And the special treatment is a check every month. You get your check, $950, and what the Social Security Administration does is they divide up your check. Let's say you have 2 kids, and let's say you have $1,000 a month coming in. So you get $1,000, this little guy gets $500, and this guy gets $500, and you're the representative payee. That's a legal term. You're the representative payee. Their money goes in your bank account. And every year, the Social Security is going to write to you and say, Did you use that money for those children? And it's a simple piece of paper, and you put yes for food, housing, clothing, utilities, and schooling, and basic needs of life. Send it in, you'll never hear from them again. You'll never hear again from them till next year. But they're going to see that those kids actually are supported. So they will be supported with that check that you'll have control over until they're 18 or they graduate from high school, whichever's last. Whichever's last. The Social Security Administration will take care of that child until they're out legally on their own. And then, when the older one leaves, now there's another $500 that goes to the younger one. So you get that $1,000 a month until the youngest one turns 18. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. The other thing with Social Security disability is you're 100% qualified for Medicare. Pays 80% of all of, and if you're disabled, you know damn well you have doctor bills and wheelchairs and you know, certain beds and medications. You get on a health plan like Humana or AARP, and that takes a terrible burden off of you for finances. You go to the hospital for operations, you go to doctors, and they accept Medicare. And you don't have to pay the copays. You're supposed to pay the copays. But here's what's interesting. And again, I wish I was getting paid for this. If you have no assets, if you have no jewels, you have no cars, if you have no money anywhere that somebody can cash in, you can't be forced by any court to take your Social Security money and pay debts. People don't know that. You're exempt from bill collectors. You're exempt from hospitals. You're exempt from all legal ways of attaching your Social Security. Now there's one exception. It's the IRS. You cheat the IRS, they can attach your Social Security and go, well, we're using $50 a month for taxes. They can do it. But no court in the land and no court or bill collection agencies, they can sue you. They can sue you, and you may have to show up to the court hearing, but when you tell them and the judge, or the judge, you have no assets other than Social Security, they're going to tell you to walk. They can't touch you. I wish I was getting paid for this. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't go out and get $1 million in credit and rip everybody off because they can't sue you. That's dishonest, that's immoral. And, you know, I'm not making this tape to make it easy for anybody to cheat anybody. I'm making the tape to help people who don't know that they may be qualified and they're not getting any help. I'm a social worker. My education is with handicapped people. And I'm trying to help you get your Social Security if you're qualified. If you're not, I'm warning you for the last time. If you're a liar, you're a cheater and a thief, and you can work at substantial work, which means enough work that you could live on it. Doesn't have to be rich, but one arm falling off is, you can still use the other arm. You are not fully disqualified from working, and therefore you're not qualified for Social Security disability. So, be in touch with Social Security. Be aware that everything you say is going to be recorded, and it's going to be the document and your history of Social Security. Be free to ask questions. They're not mean people. The telephone people sometimes have in the past been a little confused. You may get one that says one thing and another that says another thing, and sometimes the better way to do it is in writing. Just write to them, because once you got it in writing, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. If a Social Security employee told you, they're going to have to abide by it. So, please be honest. Please get it if you're qualified. Please don't get worn out. Just throw it away and say, well, I'll just suffer. I deserve to die of starvation. I don't have any more to say. If you want to try getting your Social Security disability, do it. And if you're qualified, I'm just as happy as can be that I helped you. If you're not qualified, maybe I have helped you from going to jail and having a federal charge against you and being in a federal prison. Don't take a chance. Thank you very much.